Hello everyone and welcome dear LC students to lesson 5, which is entitled Writing Instructions for ICT Tasks. The previous lesson was an introduction to today's lesson. The objective of this lesson is to make you able to write clear step-by-step ICT instructions. In ICT, unclear instructions can cause system failure, data loss, or repeated user error. Well-written instructions ensure that users can follow procedures independently and correctly. That is to say, when instructions are clearly stated and well-structured, the user doesn't need or doesn't depend on a technician, an engineer, or someone else, or on a technical support to make his task or process successful. This skill improves efficiency, reduces support workload, and creates consistency across ICT operations. So, how can clear instructions help the users? Users can complete their tasks correctly. It reduces confusion and errors and limits the technical support need, and it standardizes the procedure. This is to say, when the instructions are clearly stated, a user can follow them by himself without any support. Effective instructions follow a logical step-by-step order. Each step should contain only one clear action, and that is to say, don't mention more than one action or two steps in one sentence. In each step, you need to use only one verb to refer to one command using appropriate terms, using the technical vocabulary that we have learned together. You must guide the reader using sequencing words and, when necessary, include details or warning to avoid mistakes. Okay, so what do we mean by the sequence words? That is to say, the markers that show the order of the steps. We use imperative verbs to write direct commands. They make instructions simple and unambiguous. Instead of writing long sentences, you begin directly with the verb. This keeps the instructions short, professional, and easy to follow. Let's take examples. For example, the verb to click. Click on Start. Type your password. Select the folder. Press enter. So, as you can see, in the imperative form, there is no need to mention the subject. It's clearly that you are talking to you, so it is implied. Another way to give instructions is to use modal verbs. Modal verbs allow us to clarify which steps are mandatory and which are optional. That is to say, which steps are obligatory and which ones are not. Must shows a required action. It is a strong obligation. That is to say, when you use must in a command, it means that this action is really required and it shouldn't be skipped. Must shows a required action, however, should gives helpful advice. When you use should, it means that this action is not necessary, you can skip it. Can or may show optional steps or permission. This brings clarity and flexibility to procedural writing. For example, you must create a strong password. Here we understand that this action is mandatory. It is an obligation. should check the Wi-Fi connection first. This action is not obliged. Clear instructions sometimes include sequence markers to make it easier for the user to follow the order. Sequencing markers help users follow the process without getting lost. They provide structure and clarity. Always use them consistently. It improves readability and prevents skipped steps. You can use first for the first or introductory action. For the coming actions, you can use then, next, after that, and for the last action, you can use finally. There are some common mistakes that often confuse users. Instructions should never force readers to guess or interpret. Be explicit, brief, and precise. If a user misunderstands a step, the whole task may fail. So, for this, avoid long, complex sentences. Use only verbs to give a command in the imperative form, or you can use modal verbs to show the necessity or mandatory of the action. Missing steps as well can confuse readers, so make sure that you mention all the steps and don't use two actions in one step. Make sure to use only one action per step, and avoid as well vague language. That is to say, avoid saying do it or fix it. Here, what do you mean by it? Instead, you can use the appropriate technical term to make your instructions clear and easy to follow and to avoid the failure of the ICT process. Here there is an example of creating a user account. Let's read it together. First, go to the official website. Then, click Sign Up. Next, enter your email and password. After that, confirm your password. Finally, click Submit. Remember, instructions should be under the form of a list. Never write them in a form of paragraph. This is wrong. Okay? Use sequence markers to show the steps order. Use one action per step and make your language precise and concise. Let's sum up our lesson. In the instructions, you need to use imperative verbs. At sequence markers, you can use modal verbs, which is optional, to show either this action is necessary or not, and be clear, brief, and well structured. That was all for today's lesson. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next lesson. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video.